trigger 6 times in a row. Are you ready?
Today's gonna be the gonna throw you. By now you should somehow realize.
Holy cow. It's a podcast. I'm trying to pretend like we're a super enthusiastic Mr. Beast episode. Hey, everybody, we're going to have a bunch of starving kids in Africa compete for water.
What if that's how he pitched that originally? It wasn't just get Wells to Africa, it was to do the Beast Games with that.
Yeah, the Beast Games, but with actual, like, skinny little African kids or whatever. And you're like, I don't think this is ethical, Mr. Beast. He's like, shut up, damn it.
It'll make so much money and it will help them.
I'm Mr. Beast, damn it. Because I assume evil Mr. Beast, like his hide to Dr. Jekyll thing, has got a cigar and says damn it a lot.
Yes, absolutely. A bowler hat.
Yeah. Sometimes the funniest versions of something are the grossest and most inappropriate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like competing kids for water.
You know how you do.
Well, I'm going to be honest. Since this is a Jason-less podcast, we're going to talk trash. No.
Absolutely. Oh.
I'm going to say I went down a weird rabbit hole this week. I happened upon... So because I'm American and I am exposed to American YouTube and the garbage content that it resides within, I don't often get exposed to sort of YouTube trends and attitudes in foreign countries, which is why it's fun to have an Instagram that just starts showing me like weird Asian Instagram trends or whatever. But I happened upon the fact that apparently in Asia, more specifically Korea and Japan, there's a really huge trend of like social experiment YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
Where, first of all, I ended up finding this all through like hot Korean K-pop guys or whatever, where they had this thing where they'll go, you know how they'll play background music at like a coffee store or a bodega or whatever such thing.
Uh-huh.
So they'll play his music in the background, but he's actually sitting in the back room singing it and nobody can tell. And people like every now and then people will be like, this doesn't sound like it's from the record. It sounds like some live version or something. And then he'll just walk out after 3 songs. They'll be like, oh my gosh, he's actually here singing the song. And then all of the girls start screaming. Honestly, though, I also discovered, well, much to my sadness, that I'll never be able to obtain K-pop status. I think that's finally passed me by.
Oh, that is sad.
I might have had to get on that bandwagon a little bit earlier. And it's not because of all of the ladies screaming. I'm more disappointed that I missed the chance to overwhelm them with my hotness and then make them have to hide their faces like the sun is burning them from shame.
Uh-huh.
Chance the Gangnam Style guy is like 47.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't know if that's what we were really looking for. I mean, we need like plastic surgery K-pop guys.
Oh, see, I was
Not
thinking
jokey.
like face burning K-pop, like
Yeah, but you know what I'm
The
saying.
Beatles have come to America.
Yes, I know that's the reaction you want, but I don't think Psy gets that.
Oh,
Psy is jokey, fun man. We need the reactions that the hot boys get
yeah,
because they're hot.
that's what I'm looking for. Temperature wise,
Yeah.
blisters on faces.
What? You just want a flamethrower? Is that what's going on?
No, I want to exude the heat and light that 1,000 suns can.
Uh-huh.
Because if you watch them, they always cover their faces. They're like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was like, "It's because he's he's real bright." Anyway, I discovered that it also snowballed into they like these weird social experiments. Like normally they're cute. Like, what if a little kid sits next to you on a bench and falls asleep on your shoulder? Or what if someone in a wheelchair drops their stuff and they're going to see if people go help and pick them up? Or an old woman is lost and see if somebody goes and helps her find her way or something. Usually it's cute, like a little kid draws you a picture and gives it to you, and then the girl's like, "Oh," sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
I also discovered that Japan's a lot more depressing, their versions.
Well, is that surprising?
Well, they have similar videos to Korea, but they have a darker edge to them. Like, I'm going to be delicate. Guy tries to jump off bridge and people intervene.
Oh.
Like they set it up socially to see if someone might intervene when he tries to decide the world isn't worth it.
Oh my.
boss berates employee in public for being really stupid to see if anyone is like, "Hey, that's inappropriate."
Oh.
And
Um,
knowing Japan,
Woman
walk
is
away.
criticized in public for having to take drugs for fertility because she didn't have to take them. You're not as much of a woman.
Oh.
Like weird. It's almost like they're trying to make social commentary to try and change certain problems. Like a lot of social experiment bullying videos. A lot of social, like kids roughing up another kid to see if people intervene.
Good lord.
And I'm like, "Oh no, Japan, you're trying to," and then you wonder how like dictated this is, like if it's really set up so that they can have social messages to tell people this isn't okay and this is how you should react if it happens and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Um Asia's got some interesting trends going on right now. I played some Final Fantasy VI. I watched some movies. Not that
Oh.
big a deal. Ross, how are things for you?
Oh, they're wonderful, Just big stuff going on. Not just chilling, Honestly, I've been watching a little bit of South Park because it's on uh Paramount Plus now. So
Oh yeah.
it's funny watching the old, like the first seasons.
It's more crude and
'Cause
less social commentary.
yeah, and it's just like the voices aren't all quite there yet. They're close, but not quite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
But
there's a charm to one over the other where it's more than just, well, we have a comment on something going on culturally. It's more just we're gonna say rude things and it's more shock value.
yeah,
Screw you guys. That just
yeah.
yeah.
that shocking '90s tude, if you will.
Oh, 90s too is pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I
Silver,
love it.
you okay? Wait, I always forget.
She's here.
Anyway. Sorry,
Well,
I'm always shocked when I see you coming.
I know, terrifying.
Gonna give Silver personal issues. Bullying
This
works,
week was
kids.
good. I nearly gassed myself. That was fun.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Do
this
share.
is before or after I
And-
gave you the best game ever.
Oh, after. This was 20 minutes ago.
Oh, oh.
Oh, did the
So
game
if
come
I
in?
suddenly go quiet and you can't get me to respond, you know what happened.
Did the game come in, Ross?
Oh, it did, and I told Silver to install it.
Did you go drop it
It's
off?
installed.
I did.
Nice. You know, by the way, dear listener, Ross has got a bugaboo that we are all going to sit and play Anthem until they shut the servers down. I don't
You're
understand
welcome, both of
why.
you.
The very successful and popular Anthem, and we're gonna do it. And Ross is determined to the point where he went and bought Silver an $8 copy.
That's right. Although the sticker on the copy says $4, I got ripped off.
You did get ripped off because you actually paid money for Anthem.
Hey, you know what? We played Fallout 76 when it released, despite the fact it was a mess.
Yeah.
And I figured we gotta. I mean, this was in the gaming culture. It was relevant in its disaster.
Like we need
So
to
I
have
figure-
a breadth of knowledge and experience when it comes to the disaster that was Anthem, so that we can accurately describe it.
Yeah, you know, it'd be nice to at least have some point within that game that we can, we can understand. It's gonna go away, and it's gonna be nice to at least play it a little bit.
We also didn't buy that hero shooter clone that came out. Why didn't we get that one if we're so
Because
determined?
hero shooters are due to ass.
Cap Crew says he's very correct. It's an incredible idea. You, young lady, are not fair. You're a biased interlocker here, and I don't care for it.
Yes. Yes.
Do we need to experience every game so that we can be a part of the zeitgeist and understand the commentary? And then just be like, yeah, there's a reason why Anthem was canceled. And I could say it firsthand.
Hey, you know what? If it wasn't getting shut down permanently, I wouldn't worry about it. But since we're never going to be able to play this again, because I mean, listen, no one's going to make like fan servers for this fucking game. Let's be real. That is not happening.
You know what we should do? I just had a great idea.
Oh.
We make Ross go through all the Soulsborne type games, and it's just Rhett and I screaming at him.
Yeah. Maybe we could do that like where the coach is, where we sit there and walk him through them. Like I did for you and you did for your brother. Yeah.
We just sit there, pretty much judge him throughout Dark Souls 1, 2,
We'll be like
3,
we'll be like a
bro.
cat. We don't verbally abuse you, we just silently judge.
No, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be great.
Make you
One
feel bad
day.
for your life decisions. Oh, you were gaslighted. Silver gaslight.
I made mistakes with chemicals, let's just say that.
Were you're trying to poison us, weren't you?
Maybe.
How dare you?
Didn't go according to plan.
Oh. That's what you get.
Capture says bad games have value. At least the directors think so. They get awful mad when you don't like bad games they make. Well, and they imply that the only reason why the game wasn't successful is you didn't give it a chance, not because the game was bad. It's your fault. No, the children are wrong.
They are wrong.
No, it's not my fault. Skibbity toilet, everybody. I'm connected with the youth. I'm really upset that that thing exists. Hey, we've got a stupid amount of stuff to talk about, as always. And degeneracy being what it is, let's bring up as I delay. Oh my gosh, where is this link? So, as you might have gleaned from the thumbnail and from the topic at hand, we're going to talk about a topic that's not the most popular thing at the moment. That's right, we're not talking about Sydney Sweeney.
Hey, Red, quick question.
Yeah,
It's backwards for us. Is that supposed to be?
no, I'm trying to fix it.
Oh, okay.
Ha!
Folks, we had to do this, folks, because we did a Fantastic Four review. You should watch it when it releases. It's a great review.
Yeah, I screamed at the screen for extended periods of time.
Yeah, and I made known my utter confusion at Marvel's choices in life.
We do have updated Fantastic Four information.
Ooh.
So, I know we're going to talk about Sydney Sweeney, and that's the new hot topic that the other 40 podcasts are talking about. This podcast talks about things no one's interested in. It's an important topic that's actually sort of spreading throughout the internet that I'm surprised isn't more widely spoken about. But you might go, well, the people I listen to speak about. Well, okay, then fine. And that's the weird drama going on with censorship in the gaming sphere. And it's really strange. Now, I'm going to read a bit of the CBC article to get you guys a little bit up to speed on the basics of what's going on. Because it's valid. To read, video game developers are speaking out after two popular PC game stores have made it harder or even impossible to purchase thousands of games and digital artworks as a result of pressure exerted by an Australian anti-porn advocacy group. The takedown came after Collective Shout, the advocacy group, successfully lobbied payment networks and processors to stop facilitating financial transactions from storefronts, Steam, and itch.io, until games with certain content were removed. But developers say the range of affected works goes well beyond games with explicit sex scenes. Also, content in the sweep are teen-rated romantic comedy games, some LGBT-themed games, as well as a 1920s alternate history art book that has no sexual content. This is incredibly worrying, quote, said Adrian Bazir, a Toronto-based game developer and artist who makes LGBT games. Even just queer content holding hands is seen as not safe for work. CBC spoke to over a dozen Canadian game developers, creators, and industry watchers who say the situation highlights the power held by international financial institutions in determining what kinds of art is deemed accessible for others to consume. In July, Collective Shout published an open letter saying Steam and itch hosted games with, I'm going to be as delicate as possible, grape, interfamily closeness, and child diddling. About a week later, Steam removed hundreds of games with adult or sexual content from sale. Steam, the world's largest storefront and management platform for PC games with a reported 132 million active monthly users, said in a statement that certain games on Steam may violate the rules and standards set forth by our payment processors and their related cart networks. Do you see an interesting comment here? Not violate Steam's standards, but violates the rules and standards set forth by our payment processors, which is where this issue lies. Payment processors, including credit card companies like Visa and MasterCard, and other companies that can facilitate purchases like PayPal and Stripe. So, Collective Shout basically lobbied payment processors like Visa and MasterCard, as well as PayPal and Stripe, to go after game platforms like Steam and Itch based upon content that they deemed inappropriate. And the argument that we saw from these payment processors that it violated their standards. So this is a multifaceted issue. Firstly, at its core is censorship. Whether or not these sorts of things deserve to be deplatformed based upon the type of content that's being displayed. Now, you're going to assume that I have hard and fast rules set and that I'm explicitly on one side or the other. I tend to be as freedom of speech as I possibly can be. However, there would be exceptions. When it comes to censorship, if it involves the kids, I would understand advocating for removal. But then again, where that line is drawn and how explicitly we make these standards are questions that deserve to be answered. If we claim to live in a free society, then we should allow as much content as possible, even if I deem it disgusting or not. And I tend to be an excessive prude, unlike Ross, who is a pervert.
Absolutely.
But if it's explicitly illegal when it comes to the content being displayed, then one would assume that those things should be removed. But that doesn't seem like what we're getting here. What we're getting here is an activist group in Australia is exerting its influence based upon its standards that it believes things should be judged by, and exerting pressure on credit card companies and payment processors to go after gaming platforms to remove content that they deem inappropriate. On top of that, there's the question of deplatforming people through payment processors. It's like deciding that you are not allowed to participate in financial transactions solely based upon the fact that you have a political opinion or express certain things based in a way that is against those payment processor standards. I mean, you might roll your eyes at this, but people have been canceled for things like PayPal content because PayPal decided that they deemed it inappropriate. Or let's remind everybody that when truckers were honking their horns because they were unhappy with the policy, banks canceled people's abilities to participate in the market, period. Like an old woman had her bank canceled and she couldn't buy or sell anything solely based upon the fact that the bank deemed that her donating $5 was deemed inappropriate. Her expressing her political opinion was deemed far and away too much, and then suddenly she couldn't buy groceries. She couldn't do anything. And deplatforming people from your financial companies like MasterCard or your bank is a dangerous road that we shouldn't be going down. But then again, if you say, well, should you have all freedom of usage of Visa, even when purchasing child-related inappropriate content? Is it Visa's responsibility to interfere and that sort of thing? Now let's bring it back to Collective Shout and what's going on overall. Ross, you did a little bit of research. What are your thoughts on what's going on?
A little bit. So I was looking through various and sundry articles. So Collective Shout is this organization from Australia that is trying to take down content that they deem like sexually exploitive or violent. I went to their website and they had a couple of their things about like the Steam campaign and such.
Uh-huh.
And one that is very funny to me because they're complaining about sexuality in a lingerie company's ads, but whatever. Which leads me to believe that they are I mean, completely joyless prudes, but whatever.
And this is supposed to be a feminist organization, by the way.
Yeah, so I looked into who founded it, and I actually looked into their board of directors as well. And I didn't find anything. I mean, I'm sure somebody with more like investigative journalism and more than I came in 30 minutes before we started, so uh, but it was started by this gal named Melinda Tankard Rice, born in Australia. She's calls herself a pro-life feminist. She's known for her anti-pornography campaigns.
Well, see, that's what's funny when you say that. I was like, so she left or right or riding the line, and then you're like anti-pornography, and I was like, it could go either way.
Still kinda. They seem to be. I don't think they're explicitly Christian, but she has spoken at certain events like that. I have a feeling it's more that she just has certain views, and a lot of times, like it lines up with other Christian, like explicitly Christian organizations. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Near as I can tell, because there's nothing about her or this organization that you know deems that. But anyway, um, yeah, it's. I was trying to figure out who funds them because they are exhibiting a lot of pressure, and one
Well,
of the articles we'll get into.
And I had that weird question of like, how do they have this much influence? Like,
Right, because that's the big question. Because they released a statement saying, there's false claims and misinformation about our campaign. We're setting the record straight. Some have asked why we involve payment processors, and others have claimed that we are responsible for itch.io removing all their not safe for work content. We raised objections to rape and incest games on Steam for months, and they ignored us for months. We approached payment processors because Steam did not respond to us, which explains kind of the way that the Steam statement was made too,
uh-huh.
where they said it's not our it's not Steam's standards; it's by the standards of our payment processors. Um, yeah, they're like incredibly like censorious. Like this organization has gotten Tyler the Creator banned from touring in Australia, who is a rapper here in the United States.
Yeah.
They, I mean, there's games that they tried to get banned, like Grand Theft Autos and stuff. But another game that's a little bit more baffling, which is Detroit Become Human. Which I understand there is sort of like violence towards women and children in that game, but it's like,
I mean, are they android women and children?
well, ironically, yes.
Well,
Or real
it's
children, android women. So there you go.
Right.
But like it's meant to be like obviously it's a bad man doing that.
Uh-huh.
Like it's meant to be sympathetic and like meant to have a point,
Right.
even if it's made by that French dickhead.
He was going to make a Star Wars game, if you forget.
Oh my god, I did.
Yeah.
Now I remember. Oh,
Yeah.
sweet lord.
Remember when he got obsessed with Elliot and like went and tried to propose that she participate in his game and showed up with like folders of pictures when she was a kid and stuff to try and get her to participate. And then she was in the game and then found out that there's like a shower scene where she's nude that he didn't get permission for. And somebody modeled her nude in the game.
Oh my god, that is kind of weird.
Yeah, there's a creepy French pervert out there. Not to derail the direction you're going, I do want to address the comment here really quick. This reminds me of the VHS versus Betamax technology theory that porn chose VHS. I wonder if this means there will be a payment form that sidesteps this like that theory.
It might, although I will say that theory is tenuous because you know what it really was? VHS is longer and I can record the football game.
Yeah, it's funny when it came to advanced technology, it often is whatever's better, which often coincides with which direction porn goes when it comes to spreading its content, as well as an outsized influence on which um, comes out winning, especially when it came to like HD and Blu-ray sort of thing. It's Disney's participation in which one they deem to be the better
Yeah.
platform. Because Disney also had an outsized sort. Because it's like weirdly enough, porn and Disney chose VHS over Betamax.
Yeah. But more people had VHS players because they were recording sports.
Yeah.
Because VHS could record a whole football game.
Yeah, there's a speculation involved in that direction. But go ahead where you were going. Or I can bring up some articles. MasterCard has actually denied that it pressured Steam and itch.io to delist adult games, which is an absurd lie because we know that they did. they actually got context on X by being like, no, both Steam and itch have stated their removal of adult content was because of pressure from MasterCard. Furthermore, MasterCard and other payment processors have a documented history of refusing service to Japanese retailers over illegal content. So no, that's not true, MasterCard. That's not. They could claim that that wasn't happening, but it super was, because there will eventually end up with backlash. Which has. There's been a campaign among gamers signing petitions. There has been an effort to mob MasterCard with phone calls with people angry about their policies. This is a thing. They are mobbing MasterCard with angry phone calls, which I would say is probably more aggressive than the campaign from Collective Shout in Australia, unless Collective Shout has a secret influence we're not aware of. On top of that, GOG preservationists have hit back in censoring. They have this big effort to try and preserve games because they're a game preservationist group. And they've been giving away some of the canceled not safe for work games for free for unlimited time, quoting, if a game is legal and responsibly made, players should be able to enjoy it. It's a fair point, especially if they're adults, but yes. We have an article, I believe Ross added this.
Yes, so this is an article that was, and I'll get to that, on Vice by Anna Valens, who is, I believe, made an appearance on our show before, but not necessarily in a positive light. But, it's just an article just, going over kind of, broadly the same thing, who took responsibility for it, and that the Collective Shout reposted a tweet by, let's see, who is it? I think a feminist type, basically saying pervert nerds are responsible for most of society's ills.
Oh, so they have an agenda.
Yeah. And what's interesting about this, I mean, it kind of just goes over things. I mean, there's a lot of claims made by Collective Shout that anyone who's been around video games knows isn't necessarily true. But to me, what's interesting about this is Anna Valens wrote this article, and then the next article, I think it's on. Yeah. She gets these articles removed.
Why?
Well, so 2 articles removed from Waypoint Sunday morning, and Valens told Aftermath that she was informed by Waypoint managing editor Dwayne Jenkins Sunday morning that leadership at Savage Ventures, who owns Vice and Waypoint and such, they had ordered Jenkins to remove the articles. Valens informed Jenkins that she would quit her Waypoint contributing role if this happened. Once it did, she announced her departure.
Trying to censor dissenting. This feels like there's somebody in the background with money.
Yeah, and and I tried to go down that because she mentioned, like, this is due to concerns of controversial subject matter, not journalistic complaints.
But it doesn't seem like she's complaining about anything inappropriate. Like, she's simply talking about the subject at hand. I mean, I haven't read the article, but
Yeah, it doesn't seem. I mean, it's got its viewpoint, but it's not even inherently. It's not that biased. Like, it's not claiming anything like. And collective shout, known, terrorist sympathizers. It's not doing anything like that.
right.
It's literally. I mean, she makes some judgment, language like, yeah, they have some strange claims, but like nothing, nothing that's worth this. So it made me wonder, like, who's behind Collective Shout. So I went to their website and I snooped around their board of directors, and I've been snooping around their contributors too, and like ambassadors. On their board of directors, there's a gal on there whose last name is Jurisic, and I looked her up, and I found she had a husband named Ivan Peter Jurisic, whose name is linked to a company called Biomodule Technologies.
Uh-huh.
And I can't find anything else out about that company, but it sounds expensive to me. Also on their ambassadors, they have a lot of different people. I mean, actors, authors, psychologists, former cops.
This reminds me of the Sweet Baby Inc. thing where they were exerting pressure on gaming companies to include, I suppose, quote unquote, woke or diverse messaging in their games. And it's like, you trace it back far enough, and it's like, oh, BlackRock forcing people to comply with certain things, or they don't get funding, and Sweet Baby Inc. is one of those companies that exerts influence, part of this whole scheme. And it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, like, so this organization, I should say, like, they have, because like they have like different partners, like, and I've looked at like some of their board of directors too. Like, these are women who, and they're all women. I'm gonna just point that out real
Yeah,
quick. All the
Silver.
board of directors are women, which is fine, but it is interesting because I looked them up and they are all on or have been on other boards for other organizations. I think this is sort of a either wealthy woman or like, former college professory types, like retirement time. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what they do in their free time. They're on
Do
boards
social
for
sort of
various
influencing.
organizations.
Right.
And I just to give you an idea, they have they have a partners page who they partner with, and one of them just made me chuckle because it's very funny. Like, what a time to be alive! Campaign against sex robots.
Oh.
And then, like, releasing children from poverty, compassion in Jesus' name.
Oh.
So girls rising, like
It sounds like
justice organizations.
a busybody organization trying
we're
to interfere with.
like they're partnered with a lot of women's organizations, mostly from Australia, of course, and like children's protection organizations, but I don't know. Again, busybody. I'm not saying any of these people are inherently bad or anything, but like they very clearly have very specific ideas of what they think is right. And they're willing to clearly be very censorious to get what they think is correct.
Well, why don't we address the horrifying creature that is the lady in our podcast? What do you think, especially from your perspective, when it comes to freedom of speech in relation to not safe for work content? How far should things go? Silver.
I'll be honest, I've been having computer troubles. It's been great.
Also, you're slightly quiet. Can we force your mic to be slightly louder?
Hello? Is it working?
I
More.
think it's a little better.
Little. What is
Oh.
happening with my laptop?
There we go.
Tell us how you feel about censorship and not safe for work content, because it seems like this is mostly women trying to exert influence over whether or not these things should exist. How do you feel?
Stuff like that, it's like, um, I think it's fine as long as it's kept to certain confined platforms,
Right.
not easily reachable in public, especially by children.
Sure.
But just like whatever, do what you want. OnlyFans exists for a reason.
I mean, I'm a massive prude and don't think anybody should view it, but insofar as people do, adults have freedom of speech and the ability to access whatever stupid content that they want to. I wouldn't even argue that things like OF are good for society at large. But that being said, in a free society, people have the option to do those sorts of things. I get really hesitant when it comes to censorship, insofar as it's legal, which is the big qualifier. Because if it's illegal, then no, it should not be accessible.
Yeah.
But it's like, where do these standards lie? Like how far? Like how far should censorship go? Lewd content? Okay. Like how close to the age of consent does this become a real concern for you? Because that starts to exempt a huge amount of Japanese content.
That's true.
The lolly thing is a big thing. Every anime that's slightly lewd involves college or high school kids being a little pervy. Where is the
Yeah.
line?
I forget what the age of consent is in Japan.
It's
but
very young. Well, the average,
Like 15, ain't it?
yeah, well, it's very young for some prefectures, but I think most of them is 18-ish, but some prefectures are a bit younger, as I recall. And then it's like, well, that's their culture, and we're exerting our culture onto their culture. There's been a lot of criticism when it comes to banning content through payment platforms because China doesn't like it. And China's influence on payment platforms is affecting Western countries. Should other countries with different laws and standards start to dictate whether or not someone should be able to see or do things because another country doesn't like it? Like Australia?
Yeah, it's a hard one to think like, oh, on a worldwide scale.
Yeah.
Because you just can't get everyone to conform to the exact same age. It's like drinking. Different ages.
Well, and extrapolate
What is
this to politics. What if someone in England decides they find something that's inappropriate because their standards have gone all out to hell and back when it comes to freedom of speech? So someone finds something inappropriate. Like there's been this controversy when it comes to a new law about prayer. They're like, well, we're not banning prayer. And then they're like, well, what if somebody prays in a window and somebody outside sees it and they find it offensive? She's like, well, they might deliberately be trying to cause a scandal in a window in their house. Well, I deemed it inappropriate. And then that standard gets exerted on the rest of the world, that we don't like certain things that somebody might feel bad about. And I know there's a lot of criticism when it comes to the far reaching standards of freedom of speech when it comes to America, which is the only country that has enshrined freedom of speech. And people go, well, you're allowed to do offensive stuff. Yes, that's what freedom of speech means. You are allowed to be offensive. Now, the purpose isn't to be offensive, but when you start to censor speech based upon whether or not you approve or disapprove, then you go down a slippery slope of who gets to dictate what is okay and not okay. And if this fluctuates depending on who's in charge, or what standards. It's funny, people go like, well, we can't have hate speech, and it's like, okay, imagine somebody you disagree with is in charge. Now they get to dictate the standards of hate speech and start to ban things you might want to discuss. Well, I don't approve of that, but they're the majority and they're in charge. How do you have any say about that? Freedom of speech only matters when it's speech you disapprove of. That's the only time it matters, because freedom of speech is only meaningful when it comes to content that you disagree with. If you only listen to things that you agree with, then freedom of speech wouldn't have to exist, because everybody agrees. It's allowing other people to be able to express their opinions. Freedom of speech, believe it or not, doesn't exist so that people can do lewd things. But it's where the lines are drawn and who gets to dictate those things, and upon which standards are these lines drawn. And I realize that freedom of speech doesn't extend to things that would be illegal, and it shouldn't. But the questions are, should this be exerted influence on other nations, on other standards, and who gets to say these things? And the danger is when payment platforms start to intervene, because now they're removing your ability to even participate in the market anyway. This is not too far from, I say something about a presidential candidate I disagree with, and suddenly I can't buy milk at Walmart. This is not that far from it. This is literally like an inch away from that sort of thing happening, which has already happened in supposed freedom of speech countries like Canada, where somebody expressed a political opinion and suddenly couldn't pay their bills based upon the fact that the country decided that they didn't like that they expressed their political opinion. This is a dangerous road to go down, and it's pissing me off. And picking fights over these minor, what one might deem minor issues, like lewd content on the internet, which I disapprove of, are important discussions that should be had. We have a comment I would like to put an aside in. The neurotransmitter cascade that occurs after viewing explicit material is quite a bit to do with some of the more asocial behavior that we see in people. I agree. I would argue that the advent of excessive amounts of pornography is not healthy for a culture. It's not healthy for society at all. It adds the problem where people get small amounts of endorphin hits and then they get addicted to those small endorphin hits, and it rolls society. It disconnects young men from women where they have unrealistic standards, and it also gives them unrealistic views on sexual activity. It's creating more people who have less relationships and less meaningful. There is a cascading issue when it comes to these problems. I agree. On top of that, should we nanny state people who are adults and making free decisions on their own? These are social questions that should be discussed and rediscussed and readdressed, and perhaps never answered, but only vacillating between one and another for forever. But we're going down a problematic slope like this. Silver, thoughts?
Yeah, of course I don't agree with that kind of content, but I just think of it in terms of like, oh, you really can't get rid of it at this point. It's freedom thing, whatever. Do what you want, but it should be kept out of the public. When it comes to like how far you censor it, yeah, that's really hard. Thinking on the worldwide scale, if I was thinking of like just in the US, I think like age 18 is probably a good age for like age of consent, stuff like that. I definitely wouldn't want it to be lower. could go higher up to 21. Imagine the rioting.
I mean, these are difficult questions to answer. And I don't expect you to have hard and fast, because it's like puberty is hit way earlier. And for most of human existence, women had children much, much younger than 18. So where does like standards evolve and shift and go backwards and forwards? And these are questions we're going to be answering perpetually. Cap Cruz follows up. Obviously, I'm not for censorship, but I don't think the risks of lewd content is fully available and educated. I agree, and I think most of the time it's championed. You know, it's funny when it comes to OF that most people treat women on OF as you go girl, you get paid, you're hustling, you're doing whatever you have to do, and then men who consume said content are considered perverts and pieces of crap and awful people. And it's like, where's the weird double standard in this sort of thing? And then whose culpability is it when it comes to the degeneration of society? Is it the young men, or is it the people creating said content? And I know we've moved off into a rabbit hole not related to the video game discussion. Ross, comments on what we've been discussing so far, or if you want to redirect us, you're welcome to.
I mean, this whole payment processor and like debanking thing we've seen before. At least I've seen before. It's been used in the firearms industry as well, where pressure from various lobbying groups to like stop giving loans to businesses that manufacture certain kinds of firearms, or just firearms in general, or not letting gun shops use certain payment processing platforms. And, it's all a form of control. And it's interesting that this coincides kind of along the same time as the UK's huge, internet ID bill, along with one being proposed in the United States. This is all coming at really interesting times where it seems like there's this sudden, almost global, like, push or like stretch for control on the internet that we hadn't seen in a long time.
Let me bring up temporarily.
Not this kind of concerted effort, at least.
Grand Theft Auto Online for GTA 6 is going to have age verification.
Yeah.
Does it feel like things are moving in a direction in a concerted way? I don't know.
It makes me wonder, and this is purely speculation.
Sure.
I want to emphasize that. We've seen a culture shift starting last year. Really. I mean, not starting before that, but like the big watershed moment last year was the election of Donald Trump in the United States, right?
Agree.
And we've, things like, advertising slightly changing now, where before Bud Light had, a transsexual person for their redneck beer. Now they have Shane Gillis and Post Malone. We have Sydney Sweeney with American Eagle, which we'll talk about later more in depth, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, it makes me wonder if some of these moron companies, especially in like big huge corporations like MasterCard, like Visa, are like kind of, well, maybe this is the way they want to go. They want to do this, so we're going to give them what they want, kind of a thing. I don't know. I mean, it's purely speculation. It's the only thing that makes any, like, again, I would love for someone who's actually an investigative journalist
to address these, yeah.
Well, yeah, find the money man or woman or women or men behind this, because they are exerting a kind of power against non-Australian. Because, look, their work with, like, banning Tyler, the Creator, from coming to Australia. All right, yes, it's in Australia. That makes more sense. It's still wild as shit to me, but okay. But these are huge multinational corporations that are based in the United States.
Who were bowing to an Australian feminist activist group.
Yeah, like conservative, but like this weird conservative feminist who also maybe they're Christian related but not. It's just the most bizarre amalgamation of things. Surely there's huge money behind this group, or maybe they just got lucky. They just found
The
you
button to
know,
push on MasterCard.
yeah. Maybe it's smog flying through the air, and they just happen to hit the one part where the scale isn't covering. I don't know. It's
But this
wild as
is
shit to me.
this is the first time censorship like this existed. Not safe for work content got banned from things like PayPal and stuff because outside it exerted
Yeah.
influence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there a shady organization exerting influence through proxies like this Australian group, or is there sort of a collective will to move against these sorts of things on an individual basis? Like, there doesn't have to be a conspiracy if everybody has the same political perspective and wants to move in the same direction.
It's hard for me to believe that there isn't
Money behind
something.
this.
Well, mostly because A, the timing, and B, we found out years later that all the the wokey lefty bullshit that was getting pushed in media was absolutely getting funded by various different people.
BlackRock,
Yeah, BlackRock. I mean, shit, the CCP was funding some of it.
Yes.
Like, so what gives? Something like this is. I mean, we'll find out eventually. I just wish we knew more now. It's just the timing and the kind of this is all happening kind of at the same time with very similar pushes is very suspect.
Let's see. Visa and MasterCard have taken a hit on the market.
Good.
Yeah, the age verification push on GTA, which is just shock, and it's going to affect their bottom line because I would say most GTA, sweats are 14 years old.
Yeah, they're not. The majority is not above 18.
How are they doing this age verification? Is it just a drop down that's like, how old are you?
Well,
Some 14
ID, I'm
put
going
20.
to be guess, and there's been a push of ID age verification like in the last week or two. It's weird.
yeah, in the UK they make you take a picture of ID, don't they?
Yeah, the UK is
So
blown
people
up
are
with a lot of age verification stuff. Yeah.
yeah, people are like using like Groucho Marx glasses and stuff and like fake IDs.
Someone was using like the age verification app or whatever. They were showing it to certain shows on like HBO and getting it to age verificate to tell
That's
whether or not they're
awesome.
old enough. Well, and they have the same thing in China. And the China age verification also blows up to their social credit score, where you literally, if you have a bad social credit score, you can't go on the train because it scans your face and then connects you to your identification. And then you're like, you can't travel. You've been doing inappropriate things according to the state. And so people have been finding goofy ways to get around it by showing a picture of somebody on their cell phone. But it's like, is this the road we're going down? Censorship and social credit scores and people being shut down across the world, and that people are getting behind this because they want this to be the direction that they go because they want to control what people consume or what they're able to see. Because they find it they disapprove of it or approve of it for whatever reason. Is this the vanguard of a huge problem? Look, say what you want about Gamergate of being a bunch of degenerates on the internet. Gamergate blew up this problem that needed to be addressed. For some reason, the vanguard of a lot of control seems to go through the gaming community. I don't understand, but that seems to be something that happens. If it's not the journalistic ethics, it's censorship and it's control. I mean, the censorship issue has existed in gaming for a long time now. It was first right wing Christian groups, and then it was left wing groups, but it's always been one or the other trying to tell you whether or not you can or can't see something. I mean,
Yeah.
how long have we had the issue of can you see blood in a video game and the toggle to make it green or whatever? because it's considered inappropriate for kids to be able to see.
What was the guy's name? Jack Thompson, the old representative.
Oh
way back
yeah,
in the day?
got horribly discredited because he made it. Yeah, and they made a name
And
for himself.
Lieberman, I think, is the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't Al Gore's wife also one of these big pushers?
For the music one, yes.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, apparently it was Valve confirmed that payment processors and acquiring banks cited MasterCard's card network rules as justification. Not because things were illegal, but it cited their standards and rules. So MasterCard was making these decisions based upon their internal standards, not whether or not it was illegal at all.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, all hell is breaking loose. And I know this sounds like an issue that's not as exciting as the Sydney Sweeney conversation. But you know what? This is a big deal. And this is blown up to petitions and people picking fights over this on the internet. If you care about this sort of thing, you should be paying attention. One thing I always do when it comes to news is I'm like, even if it makes you uncomfortable, you should be aware of what's going on. you should pay attention.
Yeah, I think this will be the bigger news than Sydney Sweeney.
In the long run, yeah. Sydney Sweeney is going to blow over after this first week. This will go on for a while.
Yeah. This is some wild shit, and please God, good investigative journalists, find who's paying for these people, because it's somebody.
Let's end with this article Ross found.
Oh, it's just the statement that Collective Shout made about, well, we tried to talk to Steam, but they ignored us, so then we went to the payment processors.
Important things to think about. Final thoughts, anybody?
Silver.
Great information. I heard of none of this.
Yeah. That's why I'm here.
Once again, we educate you.
We're here to educate the world. The 10 people.
I'm here to be educated.
The 10 people that watch this podcast, we're here to educate you.
And you're welcome.
Well, and I think the expectation is I'm supposed to have a hard and fast standard. And it's like, yeah, maybe some content, if it's inappropriate on Steam, maybe there should be questions as to whether or not it should be there. And maybe watchdog groups searching through Steam's library should find some games, if they involve children, and bring it to Steam's attention. Maybe that is something that should be legitimately addressed. Then again, it's like, but if adult content exists and the things are age verified, should not people have the freedom to consume said content?
Yeah.
Payment processors, should you be allowed to purchase child diddling content, and should they intervene? Should they intervene when they find something that somebody says politically that they disagree with? Well, then, probably not. But like, there's always exceptions to these things. And as much as I'm almost a purist when it comes to freedom of speech, you could find things where I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't be doing that.
Perhaps not.
Maybe the conversation is important. The conversation. Anyway. Let's stumble over the bathroom. I got a huge dump.
The Distracted Gamer Podcast. Big steaming pile of news dump.
Freshener now.
Get the matches.
I got to light a candle. Rhett squatting on the toilet. Hey, everybody.
Classy podcast.
Sydney Sweeney. Here, I'm going to describe roughly what happened. For those who are uneducated, everybody knows this stupid thing is going on. So, American Eagle Outfitters launched an ad where Sydney Sweeney is wearing jeans looking all sexy and such, and she's like, buy jeans. It's a classic form of advertising by putting hot girl on commercial. Like, it's been said on other podcasts, but you remember the Carl's Jr. ads where like
Oh yeah,
hot girls eating burger?
messy burgers.
And sure, it plays to the common lowest common denominator, but it's like it's an effective form of advertising where you advertise sort of ideals. You're like, oh, the hot girl's eating a burger. Like, it works, it functions. The people pay attention to ads when this happens, and I know it's shocking to you. And there's been a huge effort in recent years to change this sort of advertising. To this is going to come to a big social commentary. So there's a perspective that the reason why certain standards of beauty are the way that they are is that they are culturally ingrained, as in influenced and instilled in us. And if we change the way we advertise beauty, that we won't be so indoctrinated in what we consider to be beautiful or not. And that we should normalize different body types and different types of people in order to show that there's not only one standard of beauty. I'm not going to say that advertising, media, movies, television shows, content don't have an influence on our perspectives of beauty. I'm not going to say that. However, that doesn't suddenly mean that you can indoctrinate people into thinking fat black lesbians are super hot. I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen. Believe it or not, there is such a thing as a standard of beauty. And I hear you suddenly, dear listener, screaming at your television, being like, yes, Rhett, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and everybody has their different perspective when it comes to standards of beauty. I'm going to return that not just biologically, but within human nature, that's horseshit. Believe it or not, there is such a thing as a standard of beauty. Now, what we consider beautiful can evolve.
Oh yeah,
Larger
we've seen it in
ladies
our
are considered
lifetimes.
more voluptuous, or considered like that was a thing in certain cultures. In Southeast Asia, island cultures, bigger ladies were considered beautiful for certain standards as well as other things. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Do you think somebody who has a crooked face and moles all over them would be considered beautiful by any standard?
Not that I've heard of.
Maybe internally
yeah.
beautiful, but
Yeah,
not
I've
externally
not.
beautiful. And there's a reason for that. There is such a thing as a standard. Symmetry, believe it or not, by all related research, is considered beautiful. When your eyes are crooked, you're probably not going to be hot. I know it's weird. Somebody might have a fetish where they're like, I like them crooked eyes. And it's like, well, okay.
How dare you call me out of my eyes?
Silver and her crooked eyes would not be considered
This broad.
would not be considered a standard of beauty. There are such a thing as commonly held cross-cultural standards that would be considered beautiful. And certain proclivities and changes and whatnot can exist in different cultures and throughout time. Trying to impose new standards to try and force people to change how they consider what they consider to be beautiful is the dumbest thing. You cannot make men suddenly consider giant fat black women to be hot. You can't. Like, especially when we have new standards when it comes to health. Beauty is, we're going down a rabbit hole, but beauty is often associated with healthiness and healthy genes, and subconsciously, whether or not that person's attractive will tell us whether or not they're a good mating partner to pass on our genes. I know I'm reducing love and romance to biological necessities, but that's really like you might think, oh, I like them for this. It's like, well, no, because you think they'd be a good partner for procreation so that they can pass on good looking kids because you want healthy progeny. I understand this. Why are we going that this rabbit hole? Because there has been a absurd, screaming, angry mob that is off their rocker, causing shit fits over the fact that Sydney Sweeney is in an ad selling jeans.
Well, and talking about her genes.
Yeah, Silver. People have been bringing up the fact that this is clearly propaganda from a certain mustache man's regime in the 1930s.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not joking. This is the thing. People are implying that this is spreading Nazi propaganda.
Yeah, because behind the camera is little mustache man going, yes.
Yes, blonde hair, blue
Yeah.
eyes. Yes, yes. Delicious.
Well, renowned
Jeez,
fascist Sydney Sweeney.
Renowned fascist Sydney Sweeney.
These jeans will get the party going.
And also, this is a fight over they don't like that this form of advertising is returning when they know that the newer form of advertising they've been trying to impose on people has not been successful.
I'm gonna say, oh no, advertising that works. What
Yes.
shall we do?
Well, there's a meme going around the internet of like a big fat black lady, and then it shows Sydney Sweeney, like, and they put the date under each of them, and it's like, oh, the world is healing.
Huh, good lord.
That they're suddenly changing.
Slapped a band-aid.
We're moving away from these sorts of things. I know. It depends on how mean I get with this. I understand women get uncomfortable with this. It is an unfortunate thing that women are often judged by their physical appearance.
So are men.
Yes.
No. Fuck that.
Well, women take it very personally. Guess what?
But you know,
Brad Pitt's really hot.
it's always
There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not Brad Pitt,
ad.
and it
Work
makes
on
me
us.
jelly, and I want to ban Brad Pitt from movies. But that's what it feels like when it comes to being pissed off that some girl's hot. And it's like, yeah, believe it or not, we do live in a world that's not equal. And there are hotter people, more attractive people, there are more physically fit people.
Well, and the problem is that the arguments being made aren't that. They are saying, like, well, it's racist and fascist. When this ad would work just as well, no matter what race. You know, if you had a beautiful black woman, a beautiful Hispanic woman, a beautiful Asian woman in this ad, it would all work the same. It's just that Sydney Sweeney is more famous right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this ad works no matter what the race of the person who the model. It doesn't matter.
If it was a hot black lady, I'd be like, ooh.
Yeah, literally. They were, yeah, like, but you know, now that's obviously just the excuse, because clearly it's just because, you know,
modern women want to destroy women they're jealous of.
Yeah, kind of. At least, you know,
they're bitter and petty and self-absorbed, and they don't like that there's a standard, so they want to eliminate all standards so that people can't judge them. And I know this is reductive, but it's horseshit. Silver?
That is true, but I have to say, with like her doing that jeans ad, and of course it would be like men will like it more, but also I have to argue women will as well, because they're like, oh, if I buy that product, I could be pretty like her.
Yes, precisely. Guess what, Silver? Their sales have skyrocketed among women.
Of course it will, because they're like, oh, I can be like Sydney Sweeney.
I think there was like $1 billion
Sorry.
increase in their company's value based upon Sydney Sweeney's ad.
So
Yeah.
whenever I go into like a Walmart, just a little side story here, because it's so hilarious. You go to the makeup aisle, you look at it, and you judge the makeup based off of the pictures that are, being sold with it. And what is hilarious is that in one aisle, I've noticed, there's an ad of a guy, and he has like thick facial hair, and he's wearing and advertising this red lipstick. No one touches it, and there's a reason why. We think we're gonna look like that if we wear it.
You want to buy the dude lipstick or whatever?
Mm.
It's like always just chock full. It's like, yep, not touching that.
Cap Cruz, being scientific, says we can sense how different a MHC protein is on their cells as ours. The more variable, the more attractive, the more our potential children have diverse genetic material. It's funny. It demystifies love. And I realize it's an uncomfortable thing that people don't like to think about. But attractive people are pursued because there's an inherent desire to have better progeny, and hot people will give us better kids. Like at its base level. Now, love and romance and being not just physically attracted, but emotionally and intellectually attracted to somebody are all factors. But also, that's why people pursue hotter people. Like it is. You might think that it's like, oh, personal preferences, and no, it's all a biological mechanism. And I know it demystifies the reason why you might have married your significant other, but it's true. It's by and large biological mechanism back in the back of your animal brain. I need hot girl for children. And Sydney Sweeney is playing into that tendency. There's a reason why somebody who is a burn victim isn't considered pursuable by most people. Because there are standards of beauty. And I know it doesn't make you comfortable, because now you realize that we live in a world where people are reduced to their physical attractiveness. It oftentimes is something that you can't do anything about. Sometimes it is. Things like being healthy, eating well, not just being athletic or losing weight, but we oftentimes are reduced to our physical appearance. And as Ross pointed out, it's not just women, which women are heavily judged by, but it's men too. There's a reason why Chris Hemsworth is considered hot and Jack Black is less so.
What do you mean?
There's a reason why women like watching Thor, and it's not because he's got a great personality. And we act upset when they do this with advertisements for women, when we know very well that guys with abs, women will go see. It's the objectifying in both directions, and it's horseshit that we pretend that one's wrong and the other one is okay. We know what you're doing, women. Stop it. Knock it off. Anyway, apparently Germany is returning with the advent of this ad. And yet might sound hyperbolic. Good Lord, look at the TikToks. I beg you. Women falling apart because now there's a standard and they're uncomfortable that they don't live up to it. I don't think anyone's living up to the standard at the moment because she's a hot chick. I mean, I don't know what to do about it. She's the unobtainable. And there's a reason for it. She's young and attractive, and that's not going to last forever. But this has turned into, as many people are saying, that it's a war on hot women. Dang it. She's setting women back, Silver. That's the quote we get from this article. That's just the excuse they're throwing around because they don't want to admit the truth. They're mad because she's young, hot, white, and blonde. And they're mad that corporations are finally waking up to the truth. The American people are done with the woke. Are we done? If she were 300 pounds and identified as gender fluid, she'd be hailed as revolutionary and put up on a billboard in London. But she isn't. And it's pissing them off.
Bastards.
I know. You know what though? We went down this road with Jaguar. Remember the really insane Jaguar advertisement that
Imagine
made
being on a vacation for
oh no
a very
advertisement that made no
That
sense.
looked like a perfume ad.
That looked like a perfume ad with gender fluid, queer, like people from the future. It reminded me of like they're from a weird
Zoolander.
future where everybody wears same clothes and are gender ambiguous. You know what I mean?
Moisture is the essence of water.
Yes. Yes.
Water is the essence of beauty.
Well, and the first confusing element of that is it was Jaguar. That's right, the car company. And you might go, why is that confusing? Because people who buy Jaguar are insecure middle-aged men who want to act like they're still young and in their 20s and they're buying a fast car. Not the audience that you seem to be catering to with the advertisements that you're putting out.
Yeah. And I will say, people are quoting like huge sales drops. And look, that is a thing.
98%.
However, but to be fair, they did say they were going to stop sales during the transition from, internal combustion to EVs.
Yeah.
So like that's not a great marker, but the reality is that I mean this is the interest is so dead. I mean,
it didn't help. It did.
Yeah, and I don't know how Jaguar dealerships are going to survive this. I really don't.
Well, imagine
that weight is huge.
Imagine being a guy in your 40s who's got extra money and you want to live like you're a young guy and you thought, I always want to buy a Jag. And you watch an advertisement with a bunch of androgynous, weird, color confused people. And you're like, I don't want a Jaguar.
Yeah. They're going to buy a Mercedes or a Beamer or, God, a Cadillac even. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Jaguar CEO has stepped down after the woke quote-unquote rebrand. Yeah, they become a laughing stock on the internet, and the result has been this is what we get. Oh, Cap Cruise has a comment before we move on. I'm just worried that jeans will only be made for women size 6 and below. I like having access to jeans that don't have an elastic on the back. I mean, that's... Oh, and we also see beta carotene and other antioxidants change our skin tone slightly and give us a glow. It's a mark of good nutrition, which increases attractiveness. All of this is true. It's not... I would be surprised if advertising started to shift away from sizes being available, or at least in the recent future. I would guarantee that they are aware of the amount of sales they get based upon the different sizes, and they would maintain access considering they want your money. That would be my expectation. But I suppose it's a concern that it's not a concern that I'm privy to. I don't know, Silver, is this something you would be
with the jean size thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. More so, I think about besides jeans, at least a couple years ago, shirts were a big thing. It's like all clothing companies thought that women had the same length of arms. I have long arms. Nothing would work.
Yeah, I got monkey arms.
And I don't want... Yeah. I'm like, please don't go back to that.
Proportionately...
Tiny, scrawny little arms.
What's his name that was on Community? The main guy? Anyway, you know who I'm talking about?
Think, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm hot like him, but proportionally I'm built like him, where he's all arms.
You walk on your knuckles.
Yeah, I think I'm half a size shorter on my bottom than I am on my top.
Hmm.
I am still just a huge fella. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, things are going well for Jaguar, and they're making good advertising decisions. This is a big conversation about advertising and access and blah blah blah. I'm sure everybody will give a damn. The internet
I do.
wants Sydney Sweeney and hot cleavage.
The cleavage.
Wait till they see my streaming
My
channel.
cleavage. Oh.
What's all cleavage? I'm gonna call it Satan's cleavage. Anyway,
You like that side boob? Well, that's my
that's
side
my
boob.
side boob. Fantastic Four has plummeted after its first week, nearly 80% on its second
Ooh.
Friday,
Oh my god.
raising
What?
red flags for potential MCU disaster.
80%. Isn't that worse than Batman versus Superman?
Yeah,
That's bad.
things ain't going well.
Well, we know who's going to win of the superheroes.
Pedro
Look
Pascal
at that.
fondling women constantly.
So look at that pervert. A married woman, by the way, who is incredibly pregnant.
Yeah.
Ugh, looking like the Latin lover. What a chode.
Well, and the weird excuse is that he has anxiety, so when he gets uncomfortable, he has to be touchy, and it's like, you're touchy a lot there, champ.
Yeah, you know what? I'd respect it better if he's just like, yeah, I'm South American. I'm the hot thing right now.
I want
I'm
to
touchy.
woo all the ladies.
Yeah, I'm Latin lover man. I respect that way more.
Then this is a psychological issue of mine.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Oh. On top of that, Superman has done well domestically, but poorly internationally,
Oh.
which is a weird sort of dynamic between those.
Well, and isn't Fantastic Four doing similarly foreign-wise, internationally?
I think they're equal, but the
Yeah.
reason for the being equal is not the same. It's like Fantastic Four spread between domestic and international, whereas most of the gain for Superman is domestic and not international. And they're both doing
Right.
about the same money-wise.
So, which throws, Superman's logic out the window. I mean, there's actual American flag waving in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, there is.
So, that whole, cope that, well, Americanism isn't very big right now.
Cap Crew says, do you ever worry that they aren't advertising to you because we aren't the people who have the money and the androgynous peeps are? No.
Not anymore.
And yeah, well, so you would hope. So there's a cynical decision making that happens in advertising, where they look at their numbers and they look at the majority of their consumers. Let's say a Budweiser, and 99% of them are men. And so they advertise to men in the most cynical way: guys drinking beers, women being hot. There's been an anti-reason attitude when approaching advertising that has existed with the past like 10, 15 years. With the advent of the political, you could call it woke, but push towards the DEI inclusivity for good or ill. And the attitude was, let's say, Budweiser commercials need to be more inclusive. So now they become more diverse, or they start to cater to different groups. And what happens is they start to advertise to demographics that don't consume their product, and then that are very loud and very active politically and socially on, the Instagrams and Twitter. And that these companies interpret that activity as actual reflection of the audience. Twitter is not a realistic view of general people. It is an exaggerated, hyperbolic view of very active, socially conscious, aggressively involved, which is why when you get like right-wing people, they're like oftentimes are degenerates and rude and say racist things because it's like it's the exaggerated hyperbolic versions of those conversations. But companies have been lied to thinking that those are an actual reflection, and especially when you have the squeaky wheel philosophy of the squeaky wheel gets the oil, therefore the aggressive LGBTQ lobby gets catered to by Skittles because it's easier to just come out with support for Pride Month than it is to ignore them because it's going to cost you more money and more of a headache. So it cost effectively because they don't actually care about LGBTQ issues. These large multinational, multi-million billion-dollar corporations, they don't actually care about these audiences. They just know that it's cheaper to simply throw them bones than it is to ignore because they're aggressive, they're active, and they will pursue you. All that browbeating when it came to the BLM stuff. It's like trying to force companies to put black boxes on their Instagram and that sort of thing. But we're learning now, as the rub has hit the road, that as you cater to these minority interests, they're started to alienate the vast majority of the consumers of these products. Take Marvel, for example. Marvel has been shifting towards more, I mean, you could call it inclusivity as if it's some sort of like passive, moral, like kind way of going about it. It's like, well, just being inclusive. They're deliberately catering to minority groups that are loud. When the vast majority of people that consume Marvel content happen to be men. And probably mostly white men. So when they start to shift and try and chase after the loud groups on Twitter, they start to alienate people, and then you get the Marvels where it's like all diverse women and no one goes to see the movie, and it loses hundreds of millions of dollars. Why? Because the audience that actually consumes your product is not actually participating in watching these movies because you're chasing an audience that doesn't actually consume your product. One of the biggest things that we've been angry about when it comes to current media is they're alienating their base by chasing loud minority voices. And I'm not saying minority in race and whatever. I would be shocked if they started to do this sort of thing, like, why don't we have enough men in women's spaces? Because it's like, well, because women don't want to consume product with man with wang out drinking beer. Like there's a reason why certain products cater to women and certain products cater to men. And alienating your audience is not a recipe for success, which is why we've had repeated failures with DC and Marvel and Disney, Pixar, over and over and over again. And this is not a recipe for success. You do not gain money by alienating your core, because as you lose your core, they lose trust in your brand and they are harder to get back. I think there's a math equation that they make when it's like twice as expensive to gain a new consumer than it is to keep an old one, or it might even be 10 times as expensive. Losing consumers you've already gained is a big mistake. Huge mistake. And these are things we've been complaining on forever. It's not that the androgynous people have money. It's because they are louder. And perhaps the movements behind the so-called, I mean, you say androgynous, but it's like in the general sort of push in this direction. They have money because they're people behind the scenes that want to push culture in a certain direction. Not because they are the people that consume said product. The androgynous people are not buying Jaguars. They're just not. And that should tell you, despite, the fact that they're transitioning, that should tell you why there's been a massive plummet in sales of Jaguar. Am I miss anything, Ross?
No, I think you had it there.
Yeah, sweet. Good comment though. Just goes to me regurgitating the same angry rants I've had over and over again. James Gunn has confirmed that he is writing a Superman sequel as Superman crosses 500 million. 500 million is not a success. I think they need it closer to 7 for this to be considered a big success.
Yeah, and that's if we consider what they say they put into advertising as correct. Which
Right.
is.
Superman has been inundated across advertising for quite some time.
Yeah. Seems very unlikely. I think they needed more like 8 or 9 to really be successful.
We've been skirting being political on this podcast. I assure you, this is all in direct conversation when it comes to pop culture. Because believe it or not, politics has been affecting pop culture for the last 15, 20 years, and it's pissing me off. I have to talk about it. Though I am not taking political stances, I'm just upset about the inclusion, the infection that is the politics into these things. Corporation for Public Broadcasting is shutting down, the largest funder of NPR and PBS. Says it will end operations within months after federal budget cuts. People are afraid that this is going to affect Sesame Street. I would say Sesame Street's probably going to stick around.
Oh, it went to Netflix, didn't it?
Oh, that's right. I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what happens when you only have one side represented on your programming, but whatever.
Yeah. Capcom says 700 million. That's a crazy number. Well, consider this. Let's say the movie had a budget of 300 million. Oftentimes you can say half of that to double would be the cost of advertising. So let's conservatively say 500,000, but I guarantee you it's double. So let's conservatively say 500,000. So we're talking 450 million, the overall cost for the film. And they want to make their money back. And so you go, well, they've earned 500 million. They've earned their money back. You also forget that theaters take like 40% of the ticket sales, which means in order to break even, you probably have to have a movie reach about $700 million, which should tell you that ballooning budgets, decline of movie interest, all of these things factor into the fact that this model is unsustainable. The cost alone for these films has created scenarios where they have to be $700+ million winners in order to break even. Alone, break even. That is insane. That means the movie has to be dramatically successful in order to not lose any money.
Yeah. And on top of that, I mean, I'm sure you saw it, right? But that article saying 800 million is the new billion.
Yes.
Which, by the way,
standards
is the most ridiculous cup of bullshit I've ever seen in my goddamn life. 800 million isn't the old 800 million. What are you talking about? 800 million 10 years ago is the new billion.
And I'll also remind you that companies don't make these movies in order to break even. They want
money.
Their movie to make $1 billion. So I would argue, in order for them to consider Superman to be a success, it would probably have to reach the 700 million mark. And the fact that it's floating around 5 means that for months, if not longer, we will never have a clear idea of whether or not they lost money on this film. And then we will find out that the marketing budget was absurd and that reshoots cost a huge amount of money. And in the end, this movie lost money despite earning $500+ million that Superman lost money.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the equations you have to do to decide whether or not these movies are successful. That's right. You can have an unsuccessful movie that earned $500 million because the costs are absurd. It's unreasonable to be spending that sort of money on It's absurd. CGI and all of that stuff alone. And then you throw it at untested writers and directors.
Or tested and their shit was bad.
Yeah, well, especially with Marvel, where they have a turnaround, well, they'll spend $200-300 million on a movie, and their prep time for the stupid film is a year because they want it out immediately. And you're like, what are you doing? I would have been reworking that script for a year or two at least.
Well, and then they start filming before it's even done.
Before it's even done. The first Iron Man, they were literally writing the movie as they made it. It was almost entirely improv, and they were lucky it worked.
Yeah, I mean, it only worked because Robert Downey Jr. and the director's name I forget, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, and now Feige has said, well, we don't have we plus the scripts. We have writers come in and plus them. Like, what kind of bullshit is that?
The turnaround of these films has been insane, and the low development time where they're just like, we got to get a new movie out right away. That was a reason why Raimi didn't do Spider-Man 4, is they wanted the next one to come out in a year, and he's like, a year isn't enough time for development of the movie, and they're just like, well, we're just going to cancel it and make Amazing Spider-Man, which sucked. But you gotta give these movies time. There was a reason why Lord of the Rings was so good. They allowed it. They worked on it for some years before the movie came out. They spent their time. They thought about what they were trying to do and build. This is an unsustainable model for Hollywood, and it is not. It cannot last. Or we're just going to see every year Disney hemorrhages hundreds, if not billions of dollars every year. And then they could just get away with it because they're just Disney and pretend like they're not losing money. Or, Ross, as you remember, sell themselves their movie to their own streaming service.
Oh, yeah, like Disney, to try and, plus up their, or like, zhuzh up their bottom line.
Yeah, historically, these companies would sell based upon the so-called value to like cable channels in order to air them in syndication, that sort of thing. But the problem is nobody's really watching cable, so Disney sold themselves, and I think it was Thor Ragnarok we got the number on, and evaluated their own movie at $170 million or something. So they sold their movie to their streaming service and claimed it was worth $170 million so that they could put it on the bottom line and claim that as a gain for the film.
So stupid. I mean, they're just lying to themselves. That's the thing that's so annoying. Like, who are you doing that for? You know the truth.
It's all smoke and mirrors, man. It's
probably for
it's
investors.
a middle-aged wizard doing like close-up magic to try and get a few bucks.
Yeah.
He's real tired, and he's been smoking and going to clubs at night for the last 30 years. Dean Cain blasts Superman director James Gunn for making Ma and Pa Kent the stupid rednecks. Questions why Man of Steel has to be saved like repeatedly. He has a point. Hey Ross, do you remember the High Republic?
Oh yeah, that highly successful Disney comic experiment, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a cross-platform experiment where they were doing comics at the same time, involved in the same universe, as well as TV shows, as well as they didn't do movies, but like the Acolyte was within that realm. But they had children's cartoons and all sorts of media and stuff. Well, after 5 years, the High Republic's over.
Oh, didn't work out.
So
huh?
the grand experiment is not sticking around.
And it worked so Well, oh,
Look at this heavy set black woman.
I mean, other than I know there was some comics and then the Acolyte.
I mean, they're putting Andor in this. I wouldn't include Andor in that. Nor would
No,
I
that's
include
post High
Mandalorian.
Republic. What are they talking about? They're just
Clone
trying to
Wars
North
wasn't
Clone Wars.
High Republic. Clone Wars was Clone Wars. High Republic was supposed to be prior to Clone Wars.
Yeah, there's just you know what it is, because literally the stuff they made for High Republic, the best known one is Acolyte. I mean, everything else is stuff nobody's ever heard of.
There were characters in Acolyte that were from High Republic, like the green girl that was the wife of the
Oh, of the writer?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nepotism?
no. In Hollywood?
No. James Gunn indicates that the Authority is in trouble and that Swamp King and Sergeant Rock is still moving forward. Yeah, the Authority is a mistake when you can't get Superman right, James.
Yeah.
Get Superman right and then try and do the deconstruction of Superman. Good hell. So, I'm going to skip this article and move right to the stinger. Cartoon Network has been doing so poorly. They are now moving on Comcast to the sports and entertainment package and no longer free on Comcast general subscription. That's right. Unless you have the sports and entertainment package for $9.95 a month, you no longer have access to Cartoon Network.
Huh.
That is big concern for Cartoon Network.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's like the nail in the coffin for the general access to Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network's been dying for some time. I realize that. This is bad news.
I was gonna say, what cartoons are they even making these days?
Nothing I like, and I would still watch Cartoon Network. I mean, well into my 20s and 30s.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only reason I would have been watching them is for Adult Swim, but
yeah.
The only thing I want to see is Smiling Friends. Damn it.
I've watched all Smiling Friends. It's on HBO. All the Adult Swim
Everything
stuff
else
is on
don't matter.
HBO. Talking about censorship and the deep state, Marvel Rivals Season 3.5 is introducing an automated voice chat monitoring. Even if no one reports a villainous act, our system will swing in to proactively identify and penalize violations.
Interesting.
They're listening.
I mean, this is a Chinese company? Huh.
Oh.
Weird.
Hey, Ross.
Yes?
They've got a new Batman coming out where Batman's an Aztec.
What?
Oh, no.
Wayne?
Yeah.
Riddle me this, Batman.
So they've had
Jesus Christ is Lord.
They've had alternate universe Batman where Batman was like in Japan as a samurai, and it kind of works that he's a samurai. This one, he's an Aztec warrior, and like the conquistadors are like the Joker and Two-Face and crap.
Oh my god. What?
Yeah. It has been downvoted to hell and back. People are not responding well to Aztec Batman. Now, you might ask yourself why. We've done alternate versions of Batman before. Here's the problem. And I know this might hurt some of your childlike, stupid brains, but I'm going to explain to you why the Aztec are a problem. The Aztec ruled over a vicious and violent, horrific empire for a very long time. The conquistadors didn't conquer the Aztec Empire. They participated in the mass rebellion of all of the conquered peoples of the Aztec, who they were sacrificing on their temple mounds and chopping heads off and throwing them down their Aztec temples. It was like 500 conquistadors and like hundreds of thousands of people rebelling against the horror that was the Aztec Empire. They weren't good people. They were in fact very bad people. Now you might go, yeah, but the conquistadors. It's like, yeah, you could make arguments the conquistadors were worse, especially long term. But they weren't the innocents in this situation.
Wow. Quick, Wayne, sacrifice the baby. It'll save us.
Those white people are trying to stop us from baby sacrifice.
Commissioner Mazadl, he's doing the baby signal.
There was a video game. It was kind of an Assassin's Creed where you were playing as an Aztec, like sneaking around and fighting out the conquistadors. Right? And then there was so much backlash that they were like, you also get to play as a conquistador. And everyone's like, how dare you? I know you're sitting here with your stupid brain thinking that bad guys were only the white guys and the good guys were only the brown guys. And history, that's not actually how history plays out. The Aztecs were not good people. And there's a reason why they got overthrown. And it was mostly non-conquistadors that participated in casting down the Aztec Empire. Because they conquered with blood and violence, and they sacrificed huge amounts of people, of the people that they conquered. And they were a horrifying, scary empire. The Incans were a lot less crazy.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't remember hearing them doing shit like that.
No. And the Aztecs were mostly centered around Central America. They didn't really go farther north than that. And yeah, the conquistadors did crazy stuff, especially later. 100% happened. But yeah, if you're going to be historically conscious to things that have happened in the past, maybe you should be aware that the Aztecs are also not the heroes you might consider them to be. Just, something to think about, kids. Ross?
Hmm?
What do you think? People angry about the Aztec Batman? You think it's unjust? He's fighting the conquistadors.
I think it's a really dumb idea. Should have been the other way around.
Conquistadors fighting. Well, and then you'd run into the problem of, but the conquistadors did horrible stuff. And it's like, and more long term, they did horrible stuff, but yes.
Yeah, and then you could have Wayne realizing that.
Oh, that he's like, we're here to stop this violence, and then they're like, we became the monsters we tried to stop. That's an interesting contrast.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe they could do that with this, but I know they're not gonna.
I don't think they're adult enough to have a nuance like that.
No.
So something I've saved till the end. We've most often been too exhausted to really address StarCraft or Star Trek because it's just been horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had a bunch of new announcements of Star Trek coming down the road. One is we're getting Brave New World Season 4, and we've been revealed that there's an episode in Brave New World Season 4 where they're all Muppets.
Oh.
Which plays into the seriousness of Star Trek. Talking about things like racism and bigotry.
Did Buffy do that?
Buffy did do that. Star Trek is not Buffy.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, that's lame to copy something from 30 years ago now.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely taking Star Trek history. And we have Star Trek Academy that's coming, which the creators pitched as Star Trek, but at Hogwarts. So like a Hogwarts Star Trek with a group of different people going to school.
Red?
Yeah.
Red?
Yeah.
Is that a Jem'Hadar?
That is a Jem'Hadar. Yeah.
Red? Is that a lady Jem'Hadar?
That is a lady Jem'Hadar.
Red?
Yeah.
That's not possible.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Diversity is our strength, Ross.
No, Red, I hate this. I hate this.
I held that
Oh.
image back just so I could get your reaction.
Brett, that.
Woo!
Oh my
Woo!
god.
Hey Ross, what's the problem with a Lady Jem'Hadar?
Well, you see, and I say this as the biggest stand for Deep Space Nine.
Uh-huh.
In the show, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, there's a civilization who attacks, and they are a civilization made up of many species. And one of the species is one that is the Dominion, they're called. They are bred purposefully for war.
Yeah, they're a
And the
species
thing-
that's deliberately created by the
Yes.
Dominion.
By the Dominion for the purpose of being soldiers, and they are only bred to be men. There are no
they're so
females.
bred that if they don't get a certain chemical, that they die.
Yes. Like they have to have their drugs.
Yeah. It's like
Ketracel
heroin.
White, as I recall.
Yeah, that's right. You remember. Now there are women. Because you know what, Ross? Life will find a way.
Life finds a way.
They will
The
take
Jem'Hadar.
all of your lore and diversify it, even if it makes no reasonable sense.
It is the lamest shit I've ever seen. I hate this.
It's funny. People have been analyzing the like group images of people in the academy and stuff.
Mm.
And if you analyze the group images and you start counting women versus men, you'll find that like it's like 10-1 women
Oh.
going to Starfleet Academy.
Uh,
It's like, check out this image. Like that's one man.
well,
2, 3.
oodles.
I don't know. 4. 4. Maybe more. 4. Out of how many?
Like
16?
14. Yeah. Jesus God.
Remember when you used to
So-
like Star Trek and it took itself seriously, and that its
Ugh.
internal logic stayed consistent, and they weren't subject to the whims and politics of and proclivities of the people around.
Well, and when they were, I mean, you could argue they were,
dealt
but
with
then they were
tastefully.
used smartly. Yeah, like my favorite Star Trek movie is 6, the Cold War one, the
Yeah.
one that's very clearly about Chernobyl, and it's great.
They
It
had an
sucks.
episode that was kind of transgender, where the entire species was built to be male, and one of them was born biologically female, and they tend to correct it to be male.
Hmm.
And she was like, no, I'm a female. And the society sort of bullied her into not being female and forcing her to change and that sort of thing. And she wasn't trans, she was literally biologically female, and they weren't allowing her to be biologically female. Because
Yeah.
it's considered an aberration within their genetics to become female. It was like 1 in an absurd amount of number. And it was an interesting analysis of societal pressure to conform, and she was actually identifying with her biology. I mean, they ask interesting cultural and sociological questions that they try and address in an adult manner, like what it means to be human with a lot of the data conversations.
Yeah.
Was it the drumhead episode?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where their
Classic.
Data has any business to having a right as a human, even though he's an android.
Mhm.
Interesting conversation to be had, and you could have interesting conversations about certain modern political, cultural issues. No, we got a Jem'Hadar female, bitches.
Just what continuity is this? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, where are we at? Do we know?
I don't know anything about modern Star Trek.
Is it after Discovery? I guess.
Yeah. Just to
'Cause I think
reiterate,
Discovery had a
Silver.
thing where all the what is it called? All the crystals blew up. Anyway, God,
Yeah.
modern Trek sucks.
Just to reiterate, Silver, the Jem'Hadar are built to be men.
Yeah,
I
they
was
are
gonna say
only
they're like genetically engineered or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
They're not even like a
Only as
natural
men.
species. They were created.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it totally makes sense to make a woman to be part of war, right?
Yeah. Or to
Totally makes
insist that
sense.
we have a woman version of the species when they don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they don't even procreate, as far as I'm aware.
No, they do not.
They're built in vats, and the species would
Uh,
die out if the Dominion didn't give them drugs
Yeah, like and that's the point. Like that's to keep them in line. It's
and
like,
in
yeah, well,
control. Yeah.
yeah, you need catch or sell white, pal. So stick around.
Star Trek's doing really, really well. I
Good
feel
things
like
are happening.
yeah, I feel like I've been very preachy this episode. Anything you want to reflect on?
Uh, you know, censorship is lame. Don't fight it. Fight all this crap. It sucks. It's dumb.
Super dumb. It's really gay.
Don't. It is. It is homosexual in nature.
Like, are you gay?
Why are you gay? Let me ask you this.
You are gay.
Silver,
Okay.
what do you think?
Uh just thinking about that Sydney Sweeney thing, just slapping a band-aid on the world. We're fixing it.
We're healing.
Things
We're
are
headed back.
great.
We're headed back in the other direction, and we have a chance to go too far, and everything becomes hypersexualized again. The 80s are back,
Oh.
everybody.
We're
Oh,
back.
gosh. And according to the people who hate that ad, even farther to Tiny Mustache.
Yes, even
Thank
farther.
God.
Mhm. I'm looking forward to buying my burgers from Hot Women.
Yep.
It's true. I make all of my consumer choices as to whether or not they're attractive people trying to sell them to me.
Are they Uggos? Oh, then I can't buy it. I'm sorry.
Is it a quality product? Yes. Are they Uggos? I'm out.
Sorry. Can't happen, pal.
Can't happen. The products I buy have to include advertising of the hottest of people.
Only the most attractive
Only
people.
the most attractive. Man, you guys are breaking your brains over the dumbest garbage.
I mean, it's just so silly.
A jeans ad comes out, and Mr. Small Mustache is invoked across the internet. You people need to do more. Get more cats or something. I'd say get a kid, but nobody wants to marry you.
I mean, touch grass. Jesus Christ.
I know. Did we offend you? I hope so.
I am. Oh,
Ross is offended.
very female Jem'Hadar.
You're
know what
really
else?
annoyed at that because you're a stand for Deep Space Nine.
I love Deep Space Nine. How much you want to bet they have they will mention Cisco,
They
but they
do.
won't show. Do they show his face?
No. Do you want to know the context in which they mention him?
God, what is it?
So there's on a wall. They talk about different like famous or heroes of the Federation,
Uh,
and it shows it says Benjamin Sisko. It doesn't say Captain for some
Oh.
reason, but it says Benjamin Sisko missing since whatever date. Like there's a mystery of what happened to him, and then it's like, first of all, why aren't you showing his face? Like the missing means we can't display his image.
Yeah.
But yes,
You know what, I mean,
apparently Benjamin Sisko has been missing.
Ugh. I mean, the real reason they didn't show his face is because they don't want to pay him.
Yep. That's precisely it.
But on top of that, he went with the I got on my brain the gods in the wormhole.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like, we know exactly what you're setting up. Shut up.
Yep.
Yeah. Kurtzman is a curse, dude. God, what a
Yeah,
chode.
he's terrible at Star Trek. He doesn't understand it, and he inserts his politics into it.
Just the worst.
I agree. He is terrible. I mean, not to be one of those guys that's like, I ignore anything past a certain time, but it's like, yeah, Star Trek's just dead after a certain point as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real, it is. It's so bad.
And I even liked Enterprise.
Enterprise is chilling.
Yeah, compared to what we got now, Enterprise is a masterpiece.
Yeah, the submarine space show.
Yeah, Archer and his dog. Hot Vulcans again.
Hot, hard body Vulcans.
Mm-hmm. I like the communications officer in Asian, and she's hot too.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just how it's supposed to go. Just hot people in space. Just a ship full of Sydney Sweeneys and jeans.
Oh, yeah, we love that.
Have we been sexist, Silver?
Yes.
Absolutely. How dare you?
Oh. Oh, man.
Oh,
I've been caught.
now I feel bad.
Yeah. Jason's not here, so no fight night. So it feels like we should end this fiasco.
Dear Lord.
I appreciate everybody for coming along. It's been a fun podcast.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, kids. Be sure to direct your belligerent and angry commentary that I've got all the biology wrong when I haven't in the comments below.
Yep, tell us how dumb I am.
Yeah. Be sure to criticize me and how I
specifically.
look.
You'll never know. I'm Klingon Bob Ross.
Judge me arbitrarily because of my looks and my race.
At the same time.
At the same time. Love you, everybody. It's a great podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you like the show, follow Rhett, Jason, Ross, and Silver, the world's most lethally stupid internet personalities, on Twitter at DG Podcast or on Instagram at Distracted Gamers. If you liked or hated what you heard here today, you can email them at thedistractedgamers@gmail.com and share your feelings. Not that Jason would care, since he hasn't any, of course.
Oh my God, it's so juicy.